We just had a discussion about all the spending, and I actually think I heard Steve sort of posited that this is different because we're going to do a lot of spending, but we're actually going to pay for it. But my entire life, all I've ever heard is tax and spend. One party just tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend. Isn't this tax and spend on steroids, Ed? Is this different? Is this somehow unique? It just looks like tax and spend to me.
So, Joe, I think when you take a step back, what the president is going to propose tonight, in addition to what he's already proposed, that's $4 trillion. How much is actually going to get spent? Those are going to be political decisions. How much gets paid for, I think, is the bigger political decision. From a market perspective, and I did follow your conversation, I think what the market is seeing is some of the tail risk has been taken off in terms of spending $4 trillion without paying for any of that. That seems to be removed. That was an inflation concern at the beginning of the year. The flip side is some of these tax increases. We do view what is being proposed as an opening bid. Our base case assumption is taxes are going to go up, but are we going to get $4 trillion of new taxes? That seems pretty unlikely. And so the market reaction here is we might be in an okay position, or maybe even a Goldilocks position as we're looking at these packages. More spending is coming on key infrastructure and social infrastructure programs. But on the flip side, the pull from the economy, those changes in taxes, might not necessarily be as onerous as originally feared.
It'd be great to do everything that we want to do and go ahead and tax for it. But is Raymond James doing any analysis on whether the increase in taxes would harm economic activity, corporate profits, GDP? We all hear about the jobs that are going to be created. Net, does GDP go up or down based on this long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Joe, we have done some analysis. It really does depend upon what ultimately gets into the package. When I talk to my contacts here in D.C., one of the big debates here, and we saw this, first with Biden selecting Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary, it does seem that the Biden administration, first and foremost, is focused on the domestic economy and on growth of that domestic economy. And one of the kind of mismatches, and this comes up in conversations with Democrats, is they say, why did we just spend $5+ trillion trying to defeat COVID, deal with the fiscal issues related to COVID, and turn around a couple of months later and take $4 trillion in terms of tax increases? So the general view here is that if this was all implemented, there is a debate, and it really depends upon the individual provision. There is a kind of general sentiment among Democrats that you're not going to see as much change based upon who is getting taxed here. That's a philosophical debate. But ultimately, we think that the Biden administration, congressional Democrats, they are trying to create as hot of an economy as possible for the midterm elections next year and for the 2024 presidential election. And so kind of our base case assumption is a lot of what will be done here, at least in the near to medium term, is going to be GDP positive.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.